Hello, welcome to the Self-Employed Masterclass. My name's Alan Reed and I work for a company called Elram Limited along with my sister. And I just wanted to say thank you to Deaf Unity for setting up these Deaf Futures events and obviously inviting us to speak about the self-employed, because we think it's so important now, especially the impact of coronavirus upon employment, that you can create your own business, you can be self-employed, you can be your own boss, just with a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance and some creativity on your behalf, then you can create something that's more meaningful to yourself. So I'm just going to go through this presentation slide by slide. I'll explain a little bit more about what we offer as a company later on, but let's go to the first slide. And decisions. So first things first, you need an idea. What are you going to do? What are you going to create your business? What is it going to produce? What are you going to offer? And the most important thing is having passion for whatever it is. If you want to sell yourself, if you want to sell a service, if you want to provide a service, you have to be passionate about that because it comes across. So, if you're not quite passionate about it, then people aren't going to believe it. People aren't going to buy it from you. And also, running your own business is hard work. It's stressful. There's no guarantee of success. There's going to be late nights. There's not going to be, immediate success. So you have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep believing. But running your own business is incredibly rewarding. It's, being an employee, it has certain benefits like sick leave and paid holidays, stuff like that, but it can never truly replace creating something from nothing, or even improving, taking a business, small business that's here now and improving it, keep going up and up and up and making it more successful is so rewarding. Your confidence will go through the roof. You just can't be underestimated the pride and satisfaction you'll get from creating your own business and making it a success. So basically, you've got to get your thinking cap on because you need to come up with maybe it could be a skill you already have, but it needs to be something you enjoy doing. So let's go to the next slide. Homemade ideas. So now we've spoken about, it could be a hobby, it could be something you already enjoy doing, like bakery or cake decorating, something like that. But you need to have that passion for it. But it can be something that you're already interested in. You could be interested. You could be a hobbyist, a photographer, or an actor, artist. Any of these things you can make a successful business out of with the right support. But also, obviously, nowadays social media is massive, plays a big role in all of our lives. And if you know your way around Instagram or Facebook and you're creative with content, you can become an influencer. Now, again, all of these suggestions I'm making to you, it's not going to be, I decide to do that and then 3 months later I'm earning lots of money. It doesn't work like that. It's like you have to keep going, keep creating, keep pushing, keep working hard at it, and you can make it a successful business. We know influencers that have, shot up and been earning excellent money from it. But also stuff like a social media consultant. Now, like I said, if you know your way around Instagram and Facebook, there's some fantastic short courses out there that you can do, like a 6-week short course, and it will tell you all the ins and outs and the background information on how to be a social media consultant. So you can offer your services to companies, show them how to improve their engagement, show them how to do advertising via social media, how to get more customers, you know, that sort of job sector is really exploded in the last few years, and it's definitely something that can be looked into and something that you can achieve a very good self-employed business at. Basically, the possibilities are endless. Really, it all depends on what your interests are now. If you have an interest in like I said, hairdressing or photography or baking, you could do like you know, artisan breads or anything, cakes. It doesn't matter if you've done previous like acting roles when you were younger or something. You can take a course in acting. Um, so yeah, it's just really basically down to you. What are your interests, and how can we monetize that and make it a successful business for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? So if we move on to the next slide, this is moving on from the homemade ideas, if you like. We're going to upskill ideas. So upskill just basically means extra qualifications, training, higher education. So whatever you decide your future holds, the shorter qualifications, as I've already mentioned, you know, hairdressers, beauticians, social media stuff, that's all possible. But these, if you're going for the higher education, it's a long-term commitment. You know, if you need a degree, a university course or college course, you're talking, you know, 3 to 4 years training courses, you know, accountancy, working in the healthcare sector, you know, all these computer coding, app development. I mean, like the NHS, you know, are always seeking out qualified people, radiologists, anaesthetists, nurses. And they're all brilliant ideas, and there would be more down the employed route, but they take a serious commitment from yourself to study. And there's no reason why you can't take that long-term commitment while running a self-employed business at the same time. So, as I said before, it's all really, it's down to you what your passions are, what your goals are for the future. But my point is, in these difficult times, there's options. There's always options. You know, there's options out there. It's a bit of research, and you can find something that suits you. So if we move on to, now we're moving on to the good stuff, really. So you've decided, you know, what you want, what it is your business is going to be, but now we have to get creative. So different is good. So we have an idea, let's create something, let's give it a name. And the name is so important. It makes you jump out from the crowd. So, you know, if you give it a name, then you can feel it, you can touch it, you know, you can see it in your mind, and it becomes real then once you've given it, your business, a name. Even though you're just at the beginning, you're just starting. So your business name should be unique. You should be different from all the other same businesses that are offering what you're offering. It's even better if it has a special meaning to you. So I'll give you an example. Elrum is a tribute to my mum. She passed away 6 years ago, and my sister came up with the idea to use her name, which is Mo. So her name backwards is Elrum. So that's basically how we came up with the name, and it's very personal to us. It has a meaning to us. Sort of anything we achieve is in her honor, if you like. So yeah, the name is very important. If we move over to protect yourself. So you've decided on a unique, special business name, but now we have to see if anyone else has thought of it first. So this can be a problem. So you need to do a Companies House search. Companies House is the official register for every company in the UK. So as we go through this presentation, you can see I've underlined certain things. They're clickable links. So if you'd like a copy of this presentation at the end, you know, you can just email us and you can have that for free. And you can click on all these links and they'll take you off to all the different various websites. So back to Companies House. So even if you operate your business as self-employed, technically you don't have to register with Companies House as a limited company. But we highly recommend all our customers do register as a limited company because it protects your business name. So anyone in the same business sector, they cannot, if you have a registered limited company, they cannot use the same name as you. So it's, like I say, it's protecting yourself, protecting your business, protecting your idea. So, you know, don't let a bigger company come along and steal your brilliant idea for a name and a company, you know. So it's very important to do that, to register on Companies House as a limited company. We go on. What else do I need? Okay, sorry, I just moved my lovely picture to the other side. Okay, you have a business idea, you have a business name. Now you need to register for self-assessment with HMRC. So self-assessment is your tax. If you're employed, obviously you would never have had to do that. It sort of gets done automatically by the company you're working for. But when you set up a self-employed business, every year you're going to have to submit your tax return to HMRC. And to do that, you need to create an account, if you like. And when you create this account for self-assessment, HMRC will give you a UTR, which is a unique tax reference. They'll post this to you. You'll receive it in 10 days. Make sure you keep that safe. You know, there's no good looking for it in 1 year's time, saying, I can't find it, I can't find it. Then you're going to have to go back through the whole process again. And also, you will need a UTR when you apply for Access to Work budget as self-employed. It's one of the things they require, along with you know, business plans and stuff, and forecasts, stuff like that. Access to Work. If you apply for a budget with Access to Work as self-employed, they want to see the UTR, that, you know, you're serious, you know what you're doing, you're setting up a business, and you're prepared for the next year ahead. So if we go on to the next slide, I've called it the fun stuff. Okay, so, you know, setting up a business, it can be, you can feel daunted, you can, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how I'm doing it. But, you know, a lot of this stuff is, like I said, just setting up. But so once you've done it, you can forget about that, and you can get on with doing what you want to be doing. But also this next slide, you know, we have to go through this process. But to me, especially, it's like this. To me, is more the fun stuff. You know, so creating a logo. So you have a name, you have an idea, you have a business name. Let's create a logo. And as long as you're not sort of working with your sister like I am, you can actually create a logo quite quickly. Because me and my sister, we love to argue about everything and we never agree on anything. So it can be quite difficult. But if you're working alone, it shouldn't be too hard. If you use Canva, Canva is a brilliant design tool and it's free. You can design everything from logos, posters, social media posts, presentations, themes, anything. You can spend, I often spend hours playing around with different presentations and logo designs and stuff. It's fantastic. You can do loads of templates on there, but you get a basic template and then you can change it how you want. Change the color scheme, move this bit here, that bit there, add more text, remove it. Yes, I would highly recommend it. And like I said, you can even, once you have a logo, so then you have color schemes of your logo. And those color schemes should really run throughout your website and your social media themes. So your social media posts will have similar colors in them. So it's all tied together. And if you use Canva, like I said, you can create Facebook posts, YouTube videos, you can do Instagram stories, you can do it all, and it'll all be themed as you want it. So now you have the logo sorted, move on to a website. Now for websites, you need to buy a domain name. So the domain name is basically the name of your website. So whatever it, like apple.com or anything that, whatever you choose, you have to buy that as a .com or .co.uk, .uk, .io, whatever it is, you have to buy that name. And same as your business name, it has to be available. So I've put again in the presentation, if you check here, you can see if your desired domain name is available. You check the register and you see if it's there, if it's a .com or a .co.uk, you can buy that. And personally, we recommend Ionos because they have fantastic deals, sort of £1 for the first 12 months. You can set up your domain name. They also offer hosting packages. So having the domain name is one thing, but you also have to be able to have a website on the internet, you have to host that website. So again, you can use Ionos for that, or even if you move on to the next section, like you have to build your website, obviously. If you go to, we recommend Wix or Squarespace, they offer deals, just the same hosting for the first 12 months of your package. And the benefit of going with one of those companies is that they'll sort of bundle it together with your design template. So Wix, as I said, Wix and Squarespace, highly recommended because they're a lot simpler to use and they have fantastic templates, and you can do a very basic website to to an e-commerce website, to a social media sort of based website. They have it all, and they very stylish templates. And I recommend the sort of clean minimalist look because they obviously look very modern and they look expensive, but they have every single bit of functionality that you require. I mean, if you've done your research, for instance, if you're into blogging or social media stuff, you'll see a lot of blogs out there that would tell you to use WordPress, and yeah, I would highly recommend staying away from it because unless you're advanced in web design and stuff, you'll end up sort of paying someone probably to finish it off for you because they are very complicated. So yeah, stick with the basic stuff because they have all the functionality you need anyway, and it's all packaged together. Depending on the package and the time of year, they do offer deals as well, but roughly around £100 per year for a Wix or Squarespace template website with hosting as well. So yeah, to me, that's the good stuff. Like, I love playing around and designing and tinkering with all these different things. And you'll often find they're never really finished, to be honest, because, you'll design a website, you love it, and then, you show it to your friends or something, and they'll say, oh yeah, what about this? What about that? And then you add and you change. And a few months later, you might realize, yeah, I need this. So you're constantly improving it all the time. So that's definitely, again, why I would suggest keeping it a lot more simple with Wix or Squarespace. So let's move on to the next one. Weird and wonderful. Ah, yes, one of my favorite topics. Access to work. I'm sure you'll know about ATW. If you don't, you're in for a rude awakening. Access to work can be difficult. It can be slow. Depending on, you can call the help desk, you can speak to an advisor, they tell you different things. Like you say, you apply for a budget and then 2 months later, you're still waiting for someone to contact you. And then, yeah, it's hard work dealing with ATW. So I've put a link here of like ATW guidelines. It is really important. I don't expect you to read every single bit of it and understand all of it 100%. But if you can get a rough idea in your mind about what their guidelines are and what they offer, what they're allowed to offer, because yeah, when you come up against advisors, sometimes you get an absolute brilliant advisor and it breezes through and you think, oh, what's everyone talking about? But then you get a difficult one and they try and almost put obstacles in your way. So it's important to know what you are allowed to have. And also, just like to finish on a positive note about access to work, because as I've just done, it's easy to criticise them, but we have to remember in this country how lucky we are to have such a fantastic scheme from the government, because most countries, they don't have such comprehensive support to enable you to succeed in work and employment. It is a fantastic idea, it's a fantastic scheme. And, a lot of people wouldn't be able to succeed without it. So, yeah, you have to give with one hand and take with the other with access to work. You can praise them when you can, because there's going to be plenty of times in the future when you won't be praising them. So.
Hello everyone, my name is Mariah Davidson and my sign name is this. I am an Equality and Diversity Advisor at York St John University. This means that I support the university to be more diverse, inclusive and accessible, and help by removing any barriers that might be preventing this. Today I'll be talking about diversity and inclusion within the context of employment. I put together this presentation with my colleague Matt Jones, who is a careers advisor. I won't be using slides during my presentation, but we do have some information and resources in the link below that you can read after you've watched my talk. I want to start with a quote: "Deaf people can do anything except hear." This quote has been around for a very long time, but became particularly well known in 1988, about 30 years ago, when Gallaudet University in America the only deaf university in the world, needed to appoint a new president. There were 4 possible candidates. One was deaf and the other 3 were hearing. They decided to pick a hearing candidate, and as a result, the deaf community, students and staff were furious because as a deaf university they felt very strongly that it should be led by a deaf person. There were many protests and challenges to this decision, and after a week the decision was made to appoint the deaf candidate Irving King Jordan to become the first deaf president of Gallaudet University. When this happened, Irving King Jordan said that he was showing that deaf people can do anything except hear. The protests were reported in the news all over the world, and so this quote became known across the globe. This links to today's talk because deafness should not limit a person's job prospects. Throughout time, deaf people have been finding very different ways of achieving the jobs of their dreams. The biggest barrier is prejudice, misconception, and discrimination by employers. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can navigate those barriers, and employers also have their own responsibilities in making sure that no barriers exist, or that when they do, that they take action to solve them. You don't have to explain to them what they should be doing, but I will be talking about what you can control yourself. At the same time, there are many employers who want to be inclusive and accessible, not just because the law says that they should, but because they want to get the best people. They want to diversify their workforce with people who have a range of backgrounds and experiences. So they want their workforce to reflect their own customers and wider society. Just like at my university, we want lecturers and researchers to reflect the student body so that students are able to look up at a lecturer and see someone like themselves, and therefore are able to aspire to similar things. So really, a diverse workforce means better service. So how do you find these employers who have a commitment to diversity, inclusion and accessibility? Here are a few tips. Firstly, you can ask people you know, friends, family, other students, people who already work. What do they say about their employer? What is their attitude like? Are they nice people to work for? Secondly, you can look at the company's website. So what does the employer say about themselves? Are they inclusive of disabled people, perhaps? Anyway, maybe they mention this on the website. Thirdly, Does the employer have a disability confident logo? There's an example of this in the resources below, so you can have a look at this. Fourthly, if an employer advertises a job, read what they say about welcoming disabled applicants. Do they offer that they can make reasonable adjustments if you contact them, for example? And fifthly, you can look for a paid internship. It may be temporary and might not lead to a permanent role, but it will give you good experience and also help you to make further contacts. So what are your rights? Well, first of all, you have the same employment rights as everybody else. So you have right to a minimum wage, right to rest breaks, being safe in the workplace. And additionally, as a deaf person, you have the right to be free of discrimination and harassment. An employer can't treat you less favourably because you are deaf. If something happens at work and you are put at a disadvantage in comparison to your hearing colleagues, then the employer has a duty to make reasonable adjustments. This could be providing interpreters or providing information in a different way or making changes to the way that you do your job. For example, as a customer service advisor role, the usual practice is that the advisor contacts customers via telephone, which makes the job inaccessible to a deaf person. However, a reasonable adjustment would be thinking of alternative methods of communication. This could be email, using the online chat function, texting to contact customers, and/or by providing face-to-face or remote interpreters. Employers need to think about the possibilities and explore what reasonable adjustments can be made to make that job accessible to you. So you need to think deeply about your rights, and as a result I would recommend taking a look at the NDCS website under their work and careers area. And there is so much information there about your rights and also what you can do if you think that you have been discriminated against. So when you're applying for a job, how do you tell an employer that you're deaf? This is a difficult question. The law says that employers are not allowed to ask you about your deafness, disability or health prior to a job offer, though they can ask if you have any reasonable adjustments that may be required for an interview. You have to be practical, and it is up to you to decide to tell the employer and also when and how you're going to talk about it. But this is one way that you can think about and talk about your deafness. I've categorised these into 3 steps that you can think through to help you decide. I've looked at these in 3 ways. So first is identify, the second is impact, and the third is impress. So identify. So this means taking some time to really think about your deafness and what it means for you and how you can explain this to your employer. It is not about other people and deafness generally, but what it means to you personally. So impact. So what specific areas of the job role could have an impact on you because you're deaf? What barriers may there be? This is also thinking about what will help you to do your job well. such as any reasonable adjustments that can be made. Or using government funding, so access to work to pay for support such as interpreters, maybe equipment that you might need. You can also use this funding to pay for some training. For example, my hearing colleagues had deaf awareness training about how they can best communicate with me, and this worked really well. So in summary, it's thinking through any barriers that might exist, but also what can help you to overcome these. So thirdly, impress. So as a deaf person, you have unique strengths. So you can think about what unique strengths your deafness has cultivated in you and how can you use these strengths within the job role. I'm going to explain a little bit more about this using the phrase deaf gain. So as deaf gain, we're able to reframe the concept of deafness, including the recognition of the unique strengths that individuals in the deaf community bring to the workplace. One example, so customer service advisor, you introduce therefore new ways of working, online chat, text, etc., and that helps them to provide a better service to their customers overall, and this might otherwise not have happened. Other examples include the ability to retain focus and concentration on tasks, as there aren't the same distractions when in noisy environments for deaf people. Innovative problem-solving skills, as you've grown up facing many problems that need to be solved, and this has honed a valuable skill. Also, excellent visual awareness and peripheral vision. So there are plenty of other examples in the resources below, and maybe you can think of some others. Finally, I'd like to give you an activity, as I've been talking to you for a long time. So now it's your turn to do something yourself. So, what do you identify your strengths to be? Take some time to consider what unique strengths you have and write, draw, or record yourself signing them. So, think through what are those strengths, how do they relate to the job, and how can you explain these to an employer so that they can understand clearly what positive contribution and value you can bring to the job. Keep your records of these, and through time you can continue to add to and review them. So hopefully that will be helpful. I hope that this has been a helpful talk, and remember, deaf people can do anything. You can do anything. Thank you.